Hi, it's Jennifer, and I wanted to share with you how to make the back of a bustle dress, the back of the skirt. This technique will work for both 1870s and 1880s skirts, but today I'm going to show you 1870s. This is my bustle that I have on my dress form already. I have a bustle pad in place because I wanted a little bit more poofy for that really poofy 1870s look. This is the back of my skirt. This happens to be just a 45-inch width of 45-inch fabric, just one panel of it. It happens to be very long because I don't know how much fabric I'm going to need actually in the bustling part. I went ahead and pinned it the same width as the bones in my bustle here. I went ahead and pinned it up and put it on a mock waistband. You can do this either before you set it onto the waistband of your skirt, or you can do it afterwards. On the outside here, I have pleats that are marked for the outside edges to be pleated up. This side I already have up, and I'll demonstrate how to pleat the other side. And they are marked for the pleats on the sides. I also have safety pins at random markings. They are uniform. They're not just randomly placed down the panel of the skirt. On the inside, attached to the waistline, are 3 long pieces of twill tape. You want 3, you could have 5, depending on the width of your bustle and how many points you wanted to bustle up. I use twill tape. You can also use grosgrain ribbon, something that's got a firm woven strength to it for support. And also on these I have markings for where I'm going to match up the skirt part to the strip, and the strip of twill tape is what's going to hold those poofs in place. So I'm going to get this onto the dress form. You can do this before, you can puff up your bustle, the back of the bustle, before you sew it to the rest of your skirt panels, or you can do it after the skirt is sewn together. Now I'm going to pinch up these side pleats first, and I'm just going to put my pins together where I've got it marked and pin it. You can make these side pleats any width that you want. These range from about 2 to 4 inches in depth. What I'm doing is I'm taking the lower mark and bringing it up to the top mark. This creates the pleats that are facing up. So you've got this pleat that's up. You've got this, it's like a crumb catcher on a cummerbund. So that's what you want to do on the sides. You do not want to place your pleats facing down. You get much better poof and a much better look to your bustle when they're pleated up. It is also historically accurate. That's if you look at many museum garments, the pleats are all facing up. And depending on how you're going to bustle it, you want to have enough pleats on the side to maintain a smooth line. Because I'm using just the selvage edge here, you want to keep it smooth. So if I'm bustling here, it's going to skew that side out. So you want to make sure that when you pleat them up, that the side remains straight. Okay. Now I have a very lightweight fabric here. It's just a thin cotton. To make the pleats, to make the poof, the bustle poof stay in place, I would recommend flatlining it with like a netting, a strong netting, or even a tulle. You can do 2 or 3 layers if you want, but that way it'll help hold its shape. Silks like silk taffeta and things like that have a lot of body, they're very tightly woven, can help give you that poof on their own. But when you're doing a soft cotton, if you really want that poof to stay, you need to flatline it with a netting, something that's really stiff. You can also use cotton organdy as well. So what I'm going to do here is I've got those 3 tapes hanging from my waistline, 3 of them, make sure that they're there. And I'm going to start with the middle. I'm going to go down to my first mark, and I'm going to match it to my first safety pin. Turn around here. So I've got my first safety pin on the center, and I've got my first mark here on the skirt panel, and I'm going to pin it. The beautiful thing about pinning is that you can play with it. You know, if your fabric is hanging a certain way, or if it's not going the way you want, the pins are going to be able to let you, play with it and change it if you want. If you want more puff or less puff or more poof. So I just pinned the first one here and the second one here. That's the center. On the side, I've got 3 marks, 1, 2, and 3 down here. These fall in a straight line. My third one is actually skewed out a little bit more towards the edge because your skirt is widening towards the hem, so I want those poofs to be wider as well. So again, I'm going to match it up with my first mark on my strip of twill. And I'm going to pin it in place. Here's my next one here. You can actually color coordinate as well. If you want, like, say, use gold safety pins or silver safety pins. So in the center you have the gold safety pins. On the outside you have the silver ones to help you keep track of which strip you're pinning to. Again, I've got that last mark, and I've got this mark here on my panel. And you can see it starting to bustle nicely. Let's do the other side. I've got my strip here, I've got my first mark, and I've got my first pin mark here. You want to keep it relatively straight. This is following the straight of grain. Sometimes when you get into those natural form periods, the skirts, you'll see the back of them kind of swept up towards the side. You can play with that here by doing this technique. It's just draping on your dress form. See, we're getting a nice poof there. And I have one more. My last marking here, and it's kind of long. I left these inside strips long because I didn't know how it was going to puff up on me. But you can see now we are all poofed and all my markings are there. I have a lot more extra fabric, which I could turn into a train, or if I wanted even more bustliness here, I can continue to bustle all the way down, creating the skirt panel here until I've used my entire length, or I can make it into a train and ease it onto the side panels of my skirt. Again, this is one skirt panel, and for a bustle dress, especially the 70s, I'd recommend 6 panels. So you have the center front, fronts, side backs, and then the back panel that's one piece. You can have a seam in the middle here if you needed to, or if you were piecing your fabric, but it's just easier to use one width of fabric. So you can see that makes a nice poof. We've got our edge with our pleats up on the side, and this matches the line of where it's going to sew to the skirt side back or side front. And again, you can continue to bustle all the way down if you want. And so we've got a nice puffy look to our bustle. And that's how you make a nice, quick and easy bustle skirt. You can trim it before you pin it up or just leave it as is. There you go. Have fun, enjoy, and good luck with all of your bustling.